you know, they should really switch, like turn on this survival mode right now, because it's like do or die right now. As we hit the draft right now and they start to ban, and this time it's going to be Iron Wolves on the red side.
Yeah, and Go Exanimo on the left. They are kicking on with the first ban, which is Ezreal. It is important to mention that Optimus, the AD carry of Iron Wolves, used to be one trick of Ezreal. He got his challenger for the first time in the Europe West, if I'm not mistaken, with Ezreal only, when Ezreal was in meta, but now Ezreal is kind of in meta back again. So I think that Ezreal is a really smart ban. We're following up with Braum and Braum.
I think it's weird to see the Braum ban here coming out, but Malzahar ban is understandable.
Yeah, Xavieres, the AS support, the 999 guy, is playing a lot of Braum. His win rate, if I'm not mistaken, is about 80% in solo queue. So I think that it's kind of a target ban, and also ban if they want to play Misfortune, if they want to play Ornn, because Ornn is still not banned. If they're banning Braum, they are winning champion select slightly in terms of winning like from the two sides. You're banning his champion, and you can also pick Braum, because Braum counters Ornn completely. You cast the force of the god, and then the Braum just blocks it. Oh, Shyvana, the respect ban for Warden. Warden is now 2 champions of his champion pool.
He had a blast the first game.
He had a blast indeed. We talked to him after the game, and he did not expect to kill 1v1 next to the red buff. Yeah, now the Ornn is banned. I think it's really respectable and smart, because the Braum is banned. Yeah, Zero's open, but Jarvan, it's a really smart first pick, because you can flex it. It could be a jungler, it could be a top laner. I really like this pick.
Another thing though, with a Jarvan being locked in that early, most likely tells you that they want to play around the mid lane, because like in the higher leagues, especially ULCS and this stuff, they usually tend to play around mid lane, have a lot of impact there, because it just provides so much there.
You can gank mid lane from so many angles, especially if you do the flag and drag and then flash over. It's really hard to expect and react to that.
And they want to go with the Tristana. We see a Tristana again, so definitely smart choice, I would say, for the late game. And there's an Alistar available again, and I think this should be a smart consideration here against the Jarvan as well, because then can't really turn into him.
Yeah.
Now Tahm still open. In Korea, it's the go-to pick against this lane, because usually all in, if the Tahm is there, you're just gonna eat him, and then it's fine. So honestly, I would love to see something like Kog'Maw here, because
with the
yes, I think it's super strong overall. Not really seen a lot, but yeah, like definitely in the late game, one of the best picks so far.
We were making memes of Kog'Maw, because we were playing Go for LoL not so long ago, like 3 weeks ago. We were playing Go for LoL with a top 10 challenger from Europe East. He is Lithuanian, so we were trying him out, and we were asking. The Ezreal was super in meta, because
speaking
of with the Iron Wolves. I was playing with Iron Wolves as a substitute for Solus, because he couldn't play Go for LoL. So we were planning to pick Ezreal, because Ezreal was insanely good pick as AD carry. And then that AD carry from a top 10 challenger from East, he said, if you want to lose tower at minute 5, we can pick Ezreal, but I want to go for Kog'Maw. And then he went for Kog'Maw, and then our bot lane went 0-8. It was pretty sad. So that's why I don't like Kog'Maw. That's a short story about Kog'Maw, that my experience is recently not that good.
And no, let's get back to the draft, because what we see is nearly similar comp from game 1, and have to say, overall, like really, the red side draft looks stacked with Azir.
Ooh. And I just noticed that it's Vel'Koz in the mid lane. It could be potentially placeholder, because I saw that both teams are asking each other if we can do any placeholders. So I'm not too sure if it's Vel'Koz in the mid lane. To be honest, Vel'Koz isn't that bad of a pick against Azir. I saw that Bjergsen and other mid laners are preferring to play Xerath.
I think right now, I would have said Xerath should be way better actually.
Yeah, but Vel'Koz isn't that bad, because you can. Vel'Koz is one of those champions who can out-push or contest the push against Azir. You can max W. Usually, mid laners were maxing Q just for the damage of the poke. But if you want to contest the push for the mid lane, you can just max W and 2 Ws into minion wave, and the minion wave is over.
I overall like the fact that they probably want to go for like a 4-man, just a usual simple strat, you know?
Yeah.
More CC overall, not something too crazy like a 1-3-1, because it's so hard to pull out, and in the first game didn't go so well, so that's pretty good thought process so far. They got
like really experienced teams. They're having troubles with pulling out the 1-3-1 composition. But as far as I know, that Go Exanimo they were not screaming at all like the last week. So trying to pull out the 1-3-1 is really difficult.
And now he's hovering over Lee Sin, and God bless he chose a different champion here. Because
Warden was known for his Lee Sin. He is insanely good Lee Sin, so I don't think that Lee Sin would have been a bad pick. So It's absolutely fine for him to pick Lee. He decides to go for Gragas. He's not the big fan of Gragas because as I talked to him a lot about Gragas, he said that he's really dependent on having flash. And that is true. If you don't have flash on Gragas, it's so difficult to pull out any ganks.
Yeah.
You can counter gank, you can match gank without a flash against Jarvan, but when
but he has a really good matchup here into Jarvan, so...
Yeah, but if you want to match the... if you want to do an initial gank on the mid lane, without a flash you cannot do anything.
You know, they choose Cho'Gath actually. Really good pick here into this situation. If they land the silence, really good flank as well. They have Jarvan, they have Cho'Gath, actually really good flank potential here.
I'm really glad that it's not Nasus anymore. I'm really glad to see Cho'Gath, the meta pick, because Nasus, it seemed like it's a trap card for them.
Actually, no, they got to choose Kassadin here.
Yeah,
So
I really like Kassadin pick. The Kassadin in this match, in this patch, it's just insanely good. Ooh! Could it be it? Could it be it? Nah,
No
I don't
way,
think so.
no
don't
way.
think so. Well,
should be
we
something...
might potentially having a Huni
No,
in top
I
lane.
think should be something like a tank as well here, like either Maokai something...
Maokai is open.
Trundle is fine as well,
Trundle is fine as well. He's hovering
he's
around those two
rotating.
champions, but it has to be Trundle. I believe it is Trundle. Yeah, yes, it is. I wonder. Yeah, they have to dodge because it's a placeholder on Vel'Koz. It has to be an AD carry. What kind of AD carry would you expect from Latvian team? I could say it could be a Misfortune. Braum was banned, so Misfortune isn't that bag of a go-to, and it's really easy to execute the team fights with Misfortune.
I think it's fine for the early game, but they should think about something like Varus, something that has early pressure, of course, but also doesn't fall off late, you know. Not going for the poke build, should go for the normal
For the
build.
attack speed?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, it was probably placeholder though, so...
Yeah,
Overall, I
Panzer
like this
going quickly.
draft way more, because now it's a lot more even, you know?
Yeah.
So, not too many important picks were left open. Overall, great thought process here. Both teamfight comps, so
Yeah.
not...
And,
actually have to say that Iron Wolves made a pretty good decision by picking Trundle here, because they can either choose to go for side lanes,
Yeah.
or can go
Exactly.
for the teamfights. So, again, they have really flexible draft here, really good preparation though, thus far. And they have, that's the most important thing, so many tools for disengage. So if they choose to like reset the teamfight completely, they can either use the explosive cast from Gragas here, or Azir ultimate. And it worked out so good in the first game already.
And overall, Trundle is really good because Latvian team, they have 3 tanks, so you can just use your Trundle ultimate on Cho'Gath, on Jarvan,
That's so true, yeah.
and the support, which was...
I think it should be Tarek, no?
I think
it was Tarek, yeah.
Dasha is playing a lot of Tarek and he's really a big fan of it, so it could be it.
Another thing is that they can use the... And it is the
Ooh,
Kog'Maw!
It is Kog'Maw,
Wonderful,
actually.
wonderful, guys.
You're well correct, you were correct. Now I like the draft a lot. Like, even though I'm not a big fan of Kog'Maw, but it fits in here perfectly. I love the draft. It's way better than what we saw in the first game.
Definitely. Actually, I have to say that I'm sadly rooting against them right now, because I just want to see Kog'Maw pulling out here. But it's not that easy, you know? And on top of that, Iron Wolves has a lot of CC, which usually means that Kog'Maw cannot really attack. So
Yeah. Especially against Azir, if he uses a Rise 3 times, he has 3 soldiers, it's gonna be so difficult for Azir
actually,
to
it's so
do
hard for him
anything.
to even walk up
Yeah,
into that.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
yeah.
Because when you're playing Kog'Maw, you want to have that breathing room in the team fight. When you find that you can place a lot of auto attacks, but when there's 3 soldiers, it's so difficult to find that gap to get into the team fight.
And they have so many interruptions. So I think they should just really try to go for flanks. So, but it's so hard to pull that out against an Azir and then Gragas and Tristana. They all have knockbacks, so it's not going to be that easy to set up decent flanks here. Probably should again try to play around the Kassadin early on. For speaking of Jarvan here right now,
Yeah,
and
Jarvan
Gragas
is-
really should try to guard around that lane. Not
But
let
this
them fall
time
behind.
Solus has to play more carefully because last time he died against the jungler, but this time it's Jarvan. It's like set on the plate. It said, I'm Jarvan, I'm gonna gank mid lane only. It's set to gank mid lane only. And
Well,
you
not
have to
only. I would not say only, but
okay. You can gank other lanes, but for the mid lane, it's so easy to gank anything. You just flag and drag through any side. You can go for your own race, you can go for the wall, you can go for the mid bushes.
Yeah.
With the flash up, it's really easy to execute the gank. And as you mentioned before, I think it's crucial for Latvian team to play around mid lane, because if Kassadin gets behind, it's going to be so difficult to pull off any team fights or anything else. So last game, they were playing early game pretty clearly. It was pretty good, but...
they didn't really find this transitioning into
Yeah,
mid game. They
yeah,
really
exactly,
let go,
exactly.
sadly.
this time it's going to be way much easier because they have Kog'Maw, they have
And they have CC.
and they have
this time.
no Nasus. Yeah, exactly. That Nasus, come on, man. It didn't work. It didn't work. It had to be something else. Maybe it was a placeholder and they forgot to quit the game. I don't know. It just happens, man.
Are you sure about that?
Okay.
Let's not go there. But yeah, actually, Shogath here, really good choice against Azir as well. Like, if silence really hurts him so much, so gonna have to see how they pull this out. Hopefully, we will have some action here, and yeah, it's not going to be boring or one-sided. And probably right now we're gonna see the teams preparing. You can see, like, probably see the cameras right now, as we have some handsome young guys just getting ready to get on the rift and battle it out. And it's do or die here for Exanimo. They
not
have
really.
to
Sorry
survive.
to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I'm not really experienced in the bot lane. What do you think of this matchup, Kog'Maw Taric against Tristana and Alistar? For me, as a mid laner, it looks super scary. Like for Kog'Maw and Taric.
It is.
If I would be Azir, I would just roam bot lane all the time. If I have level 6, I just come there, shoot him a drift, use my ultimate to get the first tower.
So
if I'm Gragas, I'm going bot lane and killing them over and over again. How do they survive this bot lane? They have to get... I mean, Jarvan has to help mid lane, but when you ult in the
That's why
bot
they
lane,
choose Exhaust.
Yeah.
So the thing is here, in this lane, it's so crucial to respect the level 2, especially also level 3 because of the Alistar stun overall. So they should really be careful here. But afterwards, level 4, level 5, especially after first pick, this lane goes to Kog'Maw. Because he has the range, he has the, like, especially if he goes something like Sheen. But honestly, in this lane, he should prefer going for Phage, you know? Something like this. Or even, maybe even not going for the old build, maybe even try to go for the Blade of the Ruin King, you know, just for the sustain. So, yeah, overall, early on, huge pressure goes to Tristana and Alistar. They can really play aggressive once again. Or actually, no, they before they had the matchup, so they should know themselves because they played it before, so yeah. Exhaust also great choice.
But now they're on the blue side, and I think that Jarvan can start on the blue buff without any problems. So if Kog'Maw and Taric decides to go for the lane and to get level 2 push, maybe they are in the better position to lane against Tristana Alistar, because otherwise it seems so difficult. Both AD carries are taking fleet work. I really like that. Just to go for the sustain, going for the later on stages.
It's a commit Kassadin, no?
Yeah, and look at Gragas, what he's doing. He was trying those unsealed spellbook on Gragas. I think that's really smart. Have you seen the unsealed spellbook on Gragas?
Actually, this is something I see the first time, so not sure if this is intended. Is it intended?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's
because
strong,
you're taking it to have a lesser cooldown on your flash. So when
that's actually so smart.
You have like 15%, and then you take the cooldown boots, and it's like 30% cooldown reduction on the flash. So you can just repeatedly gank over and over again. As I mentioned before in the Champion Select, Gragas is really dependent on having flash. But when you have Unsealed Spellbook and then Lucidity Boots, your flash is just probably going to be written wrong in the chat.
And I think, honestly, this is such a big thing for them because they have Taric. They don't have something like Tahm Kench who can just immediately eat him and then he's safe. They always have to, like, they have a short delay before the Kog'Maw gets invulnerable with the ultimate. So it's not always guaranteed that he will survive. If they manage to like pull out the perfect flash engage from Gragas, 3 soldiers, you know, just I think even has to consider going for Sterak's or something defensive early.
And what is really important to mention about the Unsealed Spellbook on Gragas, if you're ganking a lane and you're forcing a flash with your flash, you're going to get your flash faster.
Oh.
So, yeah, exactly. And when you go back to the lane again, you have the flash and the opponent doesn't. So it's really scary. And that's the Unsealed Spellbook. It's just insanely strong on Gragas.
Another thing is that we have the, as per usual, I think a bit broken the mastery on Kassadin here, Presence of Mind, where he just like doesn't lose any mana when he uses his Rift Walk, so overall it's really obnoxious. If they manage to get one target down, he can freely roam around, deal a lot of damage though.
But I think it's really dependent on level 16. If you do not have level 16 and your ultimate is not level 3, it's going to be really difficult for you to use that that mastery. So you just have to wait for the mid game. It seemed that it was a difficult task for them in the last game, but the early game was pretty clear. So maybe they can just play more careful in the mid game, and Kassadin just can pop off insanely well.
So again, both ADCs starting usual with the Face of the Mountain here. I think it's really smart overall, or Targon's Embrace. Now actually have to be careful, should focus on the CS more, not on the champions here. And Tarek should also try to hit more on the CS. Because most likely Tristana and Alistar will hit level 2 early and then we have some action on the bot lane.
Yeah, even if you push the wave, even if you get the level 2 first, it's still scary for you. Oh, yeah, that we're seeing that Alistar is already level 2. He wants to find an opening. Oh, he finds the opening. The pulverized headbutt combo is right there. The Kog'Maw is pushed into his minions, but actually nothing really happens. The shield and the relic potion, relic shield with the potions is just enough for him to sustain.
Tristana didn't really follow up. It seems like there was no communication. They weren't on the same page. And actually now Gragas is in trouble here as Jarvan goes aggressive on him. Does he get the flash out though?
Both of the junglers still have their flashes. Gragas is going aggressively. Jarvan might be in trouble. He used his flash, but it's not enough damage for him. First blood goes to Azir and he has the double buff. Kassadin has no flash, he has no level 6, he might be in trouble, he has the movement speed to get away. Solis is still not giving up, his E is still on cooldown, he cannot follow up, he still has the flash, but he decides just to save the double buff. And that is insanely huge for Solis to get a double buff.
So big actually. And such a big mistake, they weren't on the same page there as well. Like going so aggressive here on the Gragas, it looked good, but then used the flash out and now it's actually, the damage is done, I would say. Actually, it's something you never want to do. But they have the time bomb on bot lane here, as I call Kog'Maw, because he used to, at some point, really pop off. If he has 3 items, it's going to be a madhouse, you will see.
That's how Kog'Maw works, but in the early game, but you cannot underestimate Tristana as well. The problem is that Tristana is really way more better. Oh, I think he's in trouble again. He's in the river, he has no flash, the flag and drag is on cooldown, that's another kill for Optimus, and now that's a second kill for their team. Jarvan is just not finding the way to farm out his jungle, and now he's being way too cocky taking the crab.
And actually, right now, it's a complete disaster for him. Like, he's so far behind already. Level 3, Warden will most likely hit level 5 and get level 6 earlier. And now Alistar turning aggressive here on Kog'Maw, but again...
But he has no mana, it's really difficult to... Yeah. You cannot follow up, there were so many minions already in the bot lane.
And that early, the CS deal more damage than the champions though. I have to say, this Taric is playing it really smart because he's never using the stun like before the engage from Alistar, always waiting for the all-in from the stun. It's so important actually.
Yeah, Dashra, he's playing a lot of Taric. I think that he's main champion, is it? But Iron Wolves, they are realizing there is no point in banning Taric. It is strong, but it has its weaknesses. It is predictable. The ultimate is pretty slow.
Yep.
Relatively slow, so you can just play around it. And if you're a really coordinated team, and I think that Iron Wolves consider this themselves as a coordinated team, so I think it's really important that they can just play around the Taric's ultimate.
I think they showed it in the first game, like it was so clean after some point, especially in the late game. So, and we have another Infernal Drake here, and it's all the time when I'm on offline LAN events, I always see Infernal Drakes. It's actually a blessing.
It's scripted.
Yeah, something is happening here. Like Riot wants to tell me something here, but yeah, like definitely have some action going on there as well. And I actually expect Iron Wolves to get the pressure on the Drake early on, because Kog'Maw is really dependent on the first item, and also like they cannot freely move into this area. They have a big advantage in this area here, Iron Wolves, because they have Tristana, they have Alistar. Like in a clutch area, when you have so much CC, or like AoE CC actually with Pulverize, if you manage to hit a big team fight there, this could mean the mid game. And right now on this patch, mid game is so damn important. Right now, having a big wave here on top side, he most likely wants to push this out as Gragas is making his way towards top side.
Azir is following
gets
him
spotted
up.
though.
Gets spotted, but Cho'Gath is not going back. He still has his flash. Gragas still has no flash. The body slam is weighted, and I think that Cho'Gath is forced to go back. He still has his teleport now. The Kassadin is forcing the 1v1 right there. Solis has no mana. He doesn't want to fight right there. 2 soldiers are down. The ultimate is forced by Kassadin, and now Kassadin is getting a lot of lane pressure. Even though Solis has his first kill, it's really difficult to fight against Kassadin when he gets level 6.
And we see Jarvan alternating around on the mid lane. Kassadin is kind of baiting it out right now. Goes aggressive, turns on Gragas, misses the body slam here. Has to be careful, has to flash away as well.
Kassadin still has his level 6. I think the Warden might be in trouble. The ultimate from Kassadin is gonna be in Golden. Just in a second, he might be in trouble. Actually, we don't see the action there in the mid lane, but he manages to get away. He manages to get away right there with the body slam again. And that is so important. He got the stopwatch as well.
Still had the stopwatch though.
Yeah,
so could have baited it out, but gets the cooldown boots first, and that's here really important though. Gets a lot of move speed as they turn aggressive here on bot lane. Didn't really hit his first
could be in trouble. He flashes away. Tristana is trying to do as much damage as he can. Taric might be in trouble right here. Attacks are landing on him, but that does not hurt Taric at all. They decide just to back off, and it doesn't really matter anything. They get the minions. They're only 10 CS ahead, but now the lane pressure is there in the bot lane. The Karen wave is there. They might be going for the bot lane tower. Jarvan is there at level 4, and I think Gragas is hitting level 6 after he gets the crab.
Most likely.
They have the lane pressure already in the bot lane, so they can go for Drake, they can go for invade. I think that Jarvan could be potentially in trouble. His flash is on cooldown just for a little bit more. He could be fighting right there in the bot lane, but it's so difficult to find an opening right there.
And also, I think it's really weird that they didn't play that aggressive. So now trying to go for the ward, but Jarvan is there. Managed to hit the knock up here on Alistar. Jarvan is in trouble now. Still level 5 though. Gets pulverized. And now actually Tarek
is going down. And Tarek could potentially be in trouble. He still has his flash up, tries to flash away. It is helping him out, but 2 autos attack down, and Tristana manages to play it calm, to play it patiently, and doesn't go in. 2 kills on Tristana. It is still super scary. Jarvan is not having the best time of his life currently right now.
I think it's pretty smart, and now they can threat the dive here. They have to be careful though. No sums available for them. No exos, no heal. So it's really like difficult for them to stay under this turret. Yeah, have to back away, definitely. TP hits on the top side here. Now they turn on Tarek, who has
Tarek
still
uses his stun, but that is not enough. Optimus is already killing
Has another
spree.
jump though. Okay, jumps away to safety.
Jumps away from flag and drag. The teleport is coming in from Kassadin. Tristana could be in trouble. He has no flash, he has no heal.
Still has his ultimate though.
The flag is just there to hit, still on cooldown. Flash is in. Now spear just hits, and that's a shutdown. That's shutdown for Go Exanimo. And Domas, again, he's popping off. He's 1-0 in the early game, but the problem is Jarvan gonna be enough while being 0-3 in the mid game?
I think here really the question is like how much of a deal can Kassadin become now with this 1 kill. Like he probably wants to snowball, but is he allowed to do that? I really hope Gragas and Azir manage to get like some pressure on him and just keep on having the vision advantage on the bottom side. We still have the Infernal up here, which is pretty big for both teams, so they should think about like prioritizing this objective first.
Yeah, and while the game is played around bot side, look at what is happening in the top lane. No mana at all for Cho'Gath. It's potentially a really bad situation that Cho'Gath is currently in. Look at the CES lead that Trundle is having. He's completely dominating the top lane. Ooh, I manages to get away with the
Cataclysm hits here.
He still has his summoners, waits it out. Tarek is around the mid lane, but now the pulverizer hits, and actually Solus could be potentially in trouble. Gragas is there to save him out.
Nice.
But now Alistar is there. He has his ultimate, still trying to survive. 3 members of Go Exanimo trying to go on Alistar, but does not make it out.
And that is actually really good for Exanimo now, because they have the pressure. Now Iron Wolves has to retreat from this, and now we have an opening for, like, actually they just turned to the blue here, so could have thought about going for the Drake or something like this, but yeah, didn't really want to go for that. Now Tristana is making her way towards the mid lane. Is getting spotted on wards though. They know that he's there.
Azir is playing it so obvious. He's just saying that somebody is there around the mid lane, and he gets the wave. I think that's all that he needs right now. Ooh, but looking at the top lane, Chosen One, he's doing anything that he wants. Cho'Gath has his stopwatch, but not having mana in this matchup is just crucial. He doesn't have his teleport, he cannot recall, he cannot miss the experience. It's such a difficult situation for him to be in.
Has to wait for the TP to come back up, and yeah, overall Trundle really dominating on the top side here.
Top lane fighting 2v2. Tarek is using his ultimate. The ultimate actually does not neglect any damage. Gogbao is going down. He had no summoners. He didn't use his heal because he thought that the situation he was in was already ridiculous. Trying to save his summoner, but that's another kill for Iron Wolves, and that's 4-1 Tristana for you.
Still had the flash, the heal up, but though, this is what I said, they could have played so much more aggressive early on as well. There's really no way they can survive without having Exhaust up. Exhaust wasn't up in the fight previously, now they have it back up, so have to be more careful and have to respect actually. Now it's going to be interesting if we choose to go for the Hurricanes. We will most likely see the first turret going down on mid lane here. Gragas, great impact here on the mid lane, and Cho'Gath has to be careful as well. It's in trouble now as they make their way towards the Infernal. First of all, grouping up, threatening the dive on bot lane. Most likely, there's the plant up. They choose to go there.
They're jumping over the wall,
making their way towards the bot side. Unseen, double knock up. Though Kog'Maw is in trouble though. They get the double stun here. TP comes in as well. Kog'Maw is in trouble, almost low and dies. No, can they turn away? Cho'Gath uses the
Righteous Glory is right there. Alistar could potentially be in trouble. Now he's going down. That's a 1-for-1 situation for Go Exanimo. They are really satisfied with what is happening. Optimus is getting away, but
they leave the kill for Kassadin.
Kassadin is still there. The Null Sphere is just about to hit it, and he doesn't get a kill. That's a kill for Jarvan, but is that not the situation that you want to be in? Getting no kills on Kassadin in that teamfight is just crucial for Go Exanimo.
That actually went terribly wrong for Iron Wolves here. They didn't plan this. were they even like on the same page on the top side here? Because they knew that the TP was up again. Did they time this? I doubt it. And then it just completely went down here. Perfect play, really good transitioning here. This time, I really hope that they manage to get into the mid game, like as we briefly will get there to this point. And this Infernal is still up on the line though. And we have like quite a big difference in vision, I would say. Because Iron Wolf's just putting way more like emphasis on getting vision overall. I think it's the right approach though.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, the situation looked pretty sloppy for Iron Wolves, but what I'm seeing right now that Chosen One, Trundle, he has his teleport just in a second. And as I mentioned before, Infernal Drake is up. It's going to be a outnumbered situation for Go Exanimo.
Definitely,
Even though they slightly won the team fight, but in long term it doesn't really look good.
Definitely, yeah. And I have to say, if Tarek manages to keep like hitting these stuns, I have to say like he has so much impact then. So right now they are unaware of Iron Wolves going for the Infernal. Actually, Jarvan is making his way there, but gets pulverized.
Actually pulverized right into the dragon, but Warden wins the Smite War and gets the dragon, gets Jarvan again. And that's another advantage point for Iron Wolves. They get the Drake, they get the jungler. Now they have no pressure on the bot lane. Jarvan is dead, there's no one to defend it. And Alistar
TP is up for Cassidy, no, but at this point it's really... They should have set themselves up for the Drake. He had no vision at all, so that was the mistake overall. Now have to be careful because Kog'Maw is in trouble, I would say. There's no exhaust up, so really have to respect this all-in lane here. And on top side we see the same story.
50 CS lead for Trundle, this is just obnoxious. Whenever he uses ultimate on Cho'Gath, Cho'Gath cannot do anything.
True damage actually, almost, yeah. Like,
they have no vision right there, no exhaust up for Kog'Maw, and now he's going down to 10% HP, but Tarek is not even using his ultimate, he is going down once more. Tristana still has his rocket jump, jumps away and gets another safe kill there in the bot lane.
And sadly, with the new runes, there's no mana runes available for Tarek anymore. Slightly run out of mana, though really with his AAs he could reset his heal way more, but yeah, didn't use the ultimate at all, so something went wrong there, and probably, again, would have said that maybe Tahm Kench would have been the better pick here, but yeah, they had something in mind with this Tarek. And right now Iron Wolves just completely dominating on the map, already got all the outer turrets. Now actually turning on the inner turret on mid lane as well. Trundle was rotating there.
Yeah, Trundle with a
turret.
pretty smart rotation right there. He pushes the wave, Cho'Gath is way too slow to push it out. You either lose the experience in top lane or you lose mid lane tower, and when you put in this situation, people just get stressed out. What do I do? Do I leave the minions? Do I try to save the mid lane tower? And that just happened, they got mid lane tower. Oh, the recall didn't get interrupted by the flag.
But they don't turn on him, so... Actually, they have to be more considerate, and also, like, they need the vision. Honestly, right now, at this point, should also overthink of sending Kog'Maw to the side lane. Should stay towards mid lane, where he's guarded around from Jarvan, so he doesn't, like, get turned on from the enemies, because he's just vulnerable, and without... Actually has both sums now, but doesn't really want to lose it anymore, so... Still has no item available. Most likely will go for the Rage Blade first item, but yeah. Right now, there's no one to peel for him at this point. I would say that
they have the Tarek, but as we saw what happened before, it's way too late. You cannot predict what is going to happen. If you're going to use your ultimate too early, the Iron Wall is just going to retreat and wait for the next situation, next opening.
They just have way too much damage for him. Like, they can immediately pop him, immediately kill him, and now Alistar has flash up as well. Could just go for the flash play. And we saw he has the mechanics for that. He's really actually great on Alistar so far. I have to say that. As they turn towards Rift Herald, and this will most likely be an uncontested Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's only 16 minutes into the game. Top. They can do anything with the map that they want. They're not even going for the Rift Herald, they're just going for the second tower in the top lane, because there's nobody to defend that.
And TP comes up shortly for Cho'Gath, but there's no vision he could go for on the top side. So far, I have to say, really sad to see little to no vision from Exanimo here. Really no solid preparation or anything for this flank composition, and that's actually so key. If you're drafting something with a lot of flank potential, you always want to have vision so you could use the TP and set up a flank, especially also Cho'Gath going for this build. So would have expected more, honestly.
Yeah, with 5 towers being down on the map, they're just going for a Rift Herald because they have basically nothing else to do. Trundle is there in the bot lane, fighting the Cho'Gath 1v1. 50 CS lead is still there for Trundle. The game is looking really sad for Go Exanimo right now.
I think they can manage to just try to stall it out as long as possible. But it will be a really hard task for them.
Yeah, the problem is that they don't have any wave clear. The mid laner is Cassidy.
That's true, yeah.
If they would have gotten like Orianna or anything else that can just calmly clear the wave, it could have been even a Nivea or anything else that can clear the wave. But right now with the Cassidy, it's so insanely obnoxious to clear the waves.
Now actually got some defensive vision on the top side here, so I think it's going okay-ish at this point. And really at this time they want to consider when to go for a fight, because next team fight can be crucial when it comes to mid-game and the transitioning. Next Drake is coming up in 1:35, so do we have another Infernal?
Yes,
Are the odds into the
I think that it is. I think that it is. We can do a rock, paper, scissors.
Actually,
but next time.
Next time. And no well, by the way.
No well, okay. I was trying to introduce the rock, paper, scissors, Lithuanian
style?
method. Yeah, Lithuanian style.
Okay.
With well instead of rock. It was too difficult for the first time.
No, difficult, but it's actually against the rules. So you have to.
No, it's not against the rules.
Okay.
It's all good.
I see. International
It
standards
has the same,
does not apply here in Lithuania.
Well
it is confirmed on stream.
Well has the same KDA as rock. It's like the same stats. The same stats, man.
Okay, so they are turning on the top side here and having a small, actually no slow push though, no CS here, and they allow them to actually still manage, like, go for CS here from Kog'Maw. Would have thought that Alistar wants to go aggressive here because, like, they can just do it.
The Rift Herald there. They could potentially be in trouble. Trundle is there in the bot lane, but now what we're seeing that Shogoff is making his way to the mid lane, and Thomas is waiting for the perfect opportunity to teleport behind them.
Flash in, Cataclysm hits, pulverize.
Teleport, flash in, straightly into Iron Mole, the perfect ultimate from Tarek. Iron Mole could potentially be in trouble. There is no teleport coming in from Storkas. He's trying to get bot lane tower, but now all the members are going down from the Iron Wolves, and what is happening? It's so messy. They spawned the Rift Herald, but
Exanimo is turning it around though, and Trundle didn't even TP. So why did they go aggressive there? They could have just pulled out, used the explosive cast to reset. Overall, like messy plays here so far.
It was messy from Iron Wolves, but you have to give props to Go Exanimo. They executed it perfectly. They teleport behind. They were expecting the push in the top lane. They placed the wards for Catherine to teleport.
Tarek has to be careful here. Ooh.
The 1v2 situation for Optimus, he is going straight into it, but he gets baited, he gets exhausted, but he tries to get away, he doesn't, because Kog'Maw flashes in and gets the kill. And that is what you were talking about. They are popping off, actually they're 9k behind, but if the situation is going to repeat again, there's going to be trouble sometime for Iron Wolves.
I have to say this is not that good actually to like use the flash aggressively, because on Kog'Maw without the flash, and there's still Gragas with flash, so Alistar has flash as well, so now really has to be careful in the next team fight. They have to count on Iron Wolves making another mistake, so I would have said this would have been a nice one on the top side, but not with using the flash actually. But yeah, actually I think Tarek just really not respecting there at this point, but it's probably not thinking that Tristana would go that aggressive.
Yeah, but the problem is that Gragas has absolutely no magic resistance. He's going for Warmock's first item. If the fight is going long term, if it's extended, I think that Kog'Maw just can pop off. If he survives the body slam flash from Gragas, it could be just terrible for Iron Wolves.
Probably, yeah. Now, really important to get the mid priority here for both teams, and then move towards the Baron area to get the vision advantage. But yeah, most likely Iron Wolves will have that, because, like you mentioned before, they really lack the wave control, or overall like the ability to push out really quickly. So now even have to be careful to go into the own jungle here, as Tristana is going aggressive once more on Kog'Maw here.
One cancelled out attack.
But you can see the damage from Kog'Maw already, and only having one item and building the second one, so...
If he manages to stack the Rage Blade during the team fight...
They need to store for probably like 5-6 minutes more. So.
But we were talking about Azir against Kog'Maw. It's so difficult for Kog'Maw to fight an opening in a team fight when Azir is alive. Three soldiers are so spooky and scary.
They're turning on Cassidy here.
Right there. But going on Cassidy, he is crowd controlled by Alistar. He could potentially be in trouble. Cassidy is trying to survive, but it's not enough. He tries to flash. And now the Jarvan is in trouble as well. Now could be potentially a Baron for Iron Wolves. And what we're seeing down in the bot lane, the tower is going down. Inhibitor is trying to be taken by Trundle.
And it all shatters in pieces right now.
Yeah, lots of damage with the ultimate.
As they were lacking vision once again, and then not respecting the rotation on the top side. Now they will get the Baron, and they will have a big issue, because Shogat is naturally losing against the Trundle on the side lane. He's so far ahead, and now they got the Baron. So they can really just reset now, play aggressive on all the lanes, just pushing in, getting a slow push on top side, and then rotate between the objectives, really crack the base.
Exactly, and look at the items on Trundle. He already has the adaptive helm, and
Totally goes for the side lane, by the way. Not considering a team fight build here.
but for the team fights against Kog'Maw, adaptive helm is the must-go item. He already has it. It's only 22 minutes in. He has the Ravenia's Hydra, he has the Sheen, he has the Glacial Shroud, and the adaptive helm. So he is really tanky. Not to mention that he can ultimate any of the tanks from Team Exanimo.
Well, they need to count on a really big upset here from Iron Wolves. They have to count on a mistake from them. Right now, I would say they have such a big advantage. 13k as well. Sums are coming up shortly on Tristana. That's really important. They still have the flash available on Gragas and no flash for Kog'Maw. So really have to be careful.
And Mountain Drake and a Fire Drake as well for Team Iron Wolves. It's gonna be really much easier for them to push that inhibitor down in the bot lane. They are just taking any resource that they can from the enemy jungle.
And having the vision advantage once again. And
yeah, playing it safely.
Taking
all of the pings.
I really hope the other teams in this tournament are watching this, because there's so much to learn here from this game alone. How far Iron Wolves is ahead here, and they have to use the...
Taric is popping his ultimate, but just Iron Wolves are going back, and now Taric has no ultimate. It could potentially be the game, because when you have no ultimate on Taric against this engaged team comp, it's gonna be so scary. You cannot survive Gragas. Actually going on Kog'Maw.
No ultimate available for Taric now. Has to be careful, they cannot pull it off. And now, right now, actually, Exanimo might turn it around here.
And keep an eye on Azir. He has 3 soldiers already, stacking his damage up on the Nexus towers. And now Taric is going down. 3 members from Exanimo already dead. Kog'Maw is going down. Double kill for Optimus, double kill for Saurus. And that's the game.
Iron Wolves will advance into the final.
They are in the finals, obviously. And that is the game. That is the game. The games were so clean. This one, they didn't even give a chance in the early game. They just snowballed through the mid game, and it seemed like it was such a clean game from Iron Wolves.